So it's more easy to divide my paper to the half, imagine something like that, and mention about a little bit on up. This is the top of the wine glass. It's okay to be, just mention about this. And the bottle, I prefer to have some space like that. Empty space a little bit on top. And then from the bottom part, I can see just the end of my bottle. I just randomly add the top and bottom. The top and the bottom, it's under the grape. I imagine somewhere should be exactly equal this part. Somewhere like that. And now if I want to divide it into the center of my paper, this bottle exactly on the left side and the wine glass is on the right side. The grape, it doesn't matter. We will do that later. We just focus on the place of these two items and then place all these grape on the bottom. So I try to divide my paper something like that as a half of my page. So I can place my bottle here and my wine glass here. A little bit comes down somewhere like that. Randomly, you can draw the line. And then here, draw the line to place it, the space that we need, like this. So with the ruler, actually I draw it before, so I have my line. I don't need to use ruler right now. I just make it dark here. If you imagine your grape should be placed on this big triangle, this one. And then the other one is more straight here. We can make it circular like that. Like 1/4 of orange, something like this. It's better to make everything easy for ourselves. And then place all these oval shape of grape. So I start to place them, which is smaller and easier, then focus on the other side. I add a drop of water on my space for the mixing paint. And you know what? Watercolor is different from oil and acrylic. For oil and acrylic, we start with a darker color, move on with the light at the end. But in watercolor, we start with very loose and light color at the beginning, and the darkness will come on top at the end. So we start from the background. It's a pinky tone here and greeny color the other side. So pinky tone, we can go with the rose color. We can go with the permanent rose, alizarin crimson. These colors, this three color, it's a good option. Or maybe red color if you have. All are good. So I'm going to use alizarin crimson, which is a dark pink color. Because I want to have a light and loose color, I'd add a drop of water more. Make my paint runny like that. Then clean the brush very well. And then here I would like to bring green color. Light green color, or maybe sap green is okay too. Yeah, sap green. Or hooker green. Any green you have, something like that, would be a good option. Bring it and add a drop of water to make it runny. The first layer, it's okay to be runny. Then clean it to the water, then reduce the amount of water by napkin. So randomly we work on it. I try to finish the background and then focus on the features later. So let me put this aside. We don't need that. I'm just going to show you here. I start with the green color. It's already runny. So I diluted whole the hair into that. Randomly, I don't need to wet the paper for this one because the paint is runny. I just add randomly, even if you go inside the bottle would be okay. Randomly here to paint like this, but always napkin is need to have it in your hand to control the amount of water, or maybe if you need to touch like this to cancel it, reduce, lift up or something, we need always to have napkin. You can just move on into the bottle a little bit as well. Here, less green color. I can, even if I'm not happy with, reduce the amount of water with napkin. It's like an eraser. Napkin is exactly work as an eraser. And the first layer is so light, you can see. Or maybe not just a pure green color. You can add yellow ochre on that. Yellow ochre is nice and warm yellow. Give us a beautiful value, the other tone of green actually. Try not to go inside the grape and not touch everywhere. Just randomly add some touch under this bottle. Clean the water, clean the brush with the water and then make it here a little lighter. When you add more water into your brush, you can make your paint really, really light. With very less water, you can make your paint really dark. This is light. And now for the bottle, I would like to add yellow ochre a little bit. So I'm going to add yellow ochre here. Add the water inside. It's so light and loose. Not everywhere. Just randomly add so light color here. If you see, I'm not work all the way here. I keep the paper white. I keep the paper white, and even here. And then add a little bit green to make it and build one layer of the bottle. So just touch the bottle with the green. This time I need to use less water in my brush. Control with napkin. And here move on a little bit there. one line here, the other side. I keep the center light. I would like to make the sticker, so one line here, one line there, and one on the bottom with the green. We work as a layers, so just a light color for now would be enough. Start with the reddish color. So the first layer is so light. And I'm not adding any water on the paper because this is so watery. This is so runny. I diluted all the hair into this one and then let it really light and loose. Lay down whole the brush, not just the tip. The tip is for the details. Hold the brush. Take your brush like that. Lay it down on a paper. Move it everywhere that you need to add the red color on the background. Please not come inside the center of your glass of wine. Move on a little bit here, close to the left part. Even this part, it's okay to cover it by red color. And this part of the glass, it's okay to use a little bit light tone, but I prefer center be the white of the canvas. Even we can add a little bit tone here inside the glass, cover it. Just one line here, let it like a triangle shape, let it be completely white of the paper. Here, like a triangle. And then again, back randomly to the background. Lay down your brush, cover it. The red color, even if you see you need to cancel some part and you're not happy with this edges, take your clean napkin. When it's wet, just touch the paper. Lift up the paint, just touch the paper. Please not rub it. If you rub it, you can damage the paper. Just pressure, lift up the paint like that. And then on this part, which is narrow, one or two lines with the tip, it's enough to add red color. The rest we would like to keep as a white. So I think we need to add a little bit red. You see, if I use less water, already the same green I use, but it's darker. So you can control light and dark in watercolor by adding the amount of water. This is green, yellow ochre, and I mentioned about the olive and darker green. So I would like to take this green somewhere like this part, and I would like to bring a darker color like the brown. I would like to make it a little browny to have darker green. with tip of brush. This time I can use tip of brush. And now I need the napkin in my hand. Move on with mid-tone green. Draw the line on top, so light. And then draw one line here. This is a little bit thicker because I use tip of my brush and lay down a little bit, hold the brush to draw the line and then move it a little darkness there. And then just with the tip straight, one line on the part top and one line here to separate it. I can switch this darkness a little bit, control the amount of water, because here is dark. I would like to make this part a little, this curve a little darker than the other part. Then control it. Now, a little water I need, bring it here, lay down my brush. On the left side, try to draw one thicker line. Come a little toward the center, but it's not really watery. It's not completely dry, but tiny bit water would be enough to have. And draw the shape. I'm moving toward this darkness. The edges, I need more dark color. And I'm going to use on a wet surface so they can mix and blend to each other. The edges is a little darker. Because of that, I use tip of my brush and bring this dark color. Move on a little close to the center. Brown, even you can use more darker blue like cobalt blue to add and make this color darker. Make sure not to lose the shape. So there is one shape here, so I separate that one. And it shows here is the amount of the liquid that I have. So I try to make it gentle C curve to show this is the place of that. And with the other color, a little, try to add another curve on the other side. Yellow ochre we need. If you feel that it's so watery, just touch a napkin would be enough to control it. One line come here. The feeling of yellowy would be interesting there, and even inside this part. Then move on with this light green for the other side like that. Now my brush is too dry. And after you finish whole the green part, I just add a tone with yellow ochre, just the yellow ochre I want. Lay down the brush, randomly add some yellowy tone on a sticker part. Just randomly like this. I don't want to cover everywhere. Just like that. It's a feeling of the creamy and this yellowy be visible. Even a little greeny tone when it's wet. It's nice to bring one green tone here. Then let it dry. We would like to add right on top actually. I'm going to add ultramarine blue, which is darker blue. And mix with brown, very less water and more pigment. So try to randomly write something, not very visible. Like try to follow something like that. It's not visible, it's not, you cannot read it what happened, but it's look like writing on a bottle. Even a little watery. Oops, shouldn't be watery. Less water. Like some alphabet, I would like to show that. A pinky color. It can be alizarin crimson or permanent rose. Both are equal. When I use less water, my paint is so darker. So I'm going to bring this one here or hold this part. And if I need to make this darker in watercolor, it's better not to use black color because I don't know, it's not look like oil and acrylic. I'm not using any black into pinky color to make it dark. I'm going to add purple or blue, like cobalt blue a little bit. You see, make it darker. And it's not dirty color. It's fresh and clean already, but dark. So we need these two color. Clean up my brush. Control the amount. The napkin, I'm going to add this one. So draw one line with this color. As I mentioned, it's better to keep this part white. So I keep that white as well. Try to add this dark color on the other side. Cover it like that. You see, it's not dry brush. It's wet, but it's not watery. Something in between. You can easily move your brush. It's enough water inside, but it's not runny. The runny, it was the first layer. And then switch to the dark tone for both sides, left and right. We need this color to bring some darker tone here, some darker tone here. But be careful, it needs to be a little fast, not let it, the first color be dry. Back to the lighter tone, because I would like to get rid of these edges. Then the other side, this lighter color. One seeker, I try to make it there. A little bit water I would like to bring from top to bottom. Try not to touch this darkness here. Bring this one from top to bottom. And be careful not come close to this part. That's enough. A little darkness I think we need for that part too. Both left and right side. And then we need to keep the shape of glass on top. A little add water. With broken line, draw the edges of glass, but with broken line, not the straight line. We need to keep it some part really be empty. With lighter tone, I use some broken line like that. Make a curve like this. Even if you're not happy with the line, don't let it draw, just touch the napkin and reduce the amount of tone. I'm going to start with red color. I start with this gray in the back. So this 4-color randomly, it doesn't matter which one you start. You can add one tone here, red tone, layer by layer, make them add a red tone, and don't let it draw. The same grape that you add red, bring it pinky tone on one part, and we try to make it some part dark, some part light. So the bottom part is a little darker. The top are adding the red, and that's enough. So keep it get dry. This is one technique to make the grape one by one. It takes a little more time. I will work on this one with the other technique to show you both, that you see which one is more interesting for you, one by one or the whole grape together. To go randomly like that. I'm not thinking about one by one. I just move my pinky tone on each grape. Randomly, I think about, okay, I would like to have some tone here, some there, some tone here. Just move my brush, adding darker tone everywhere in between the grape with this pinky tone, actually not really dark. But already try not to lose the shape. I already have, I can see the line under it. And this separation line even. Clean the brush. Sometimes it's happened, I'm not happy. For example, it's so dark. Okay, we can fix it. I get rid of this really dark and separation. I lift up some paint. So even if you're not happy with. Here too, I can lift up some paint and make it reduce this darkness. That's enough. Again, back to the pink. Mix a shadow with the pink. Make shadow here too. With the shadow, I try to help it separate from the others. And the shadow I'm going to add with purple and rose color. So even here is dark. I can add some dark tone here. When I add dark here, I'm not adding the other gray because this is dark and let it come forward. And this is in darkness, go backward. Here is dark, so this one is not much dark. If I add the darkness here, I try to keep that part light. So if I add the dark color on the back of this gray, I try not to add close to that exactly this one. I try to keep the top part dark. So the bottom part is light and it's move forward. You see that on top of the gray, because of the light, there is some really nice light on each drop, and it's so beautiful. So I don't want to make it really busy. I think would be enough. Yeah, like that. And this is a technique that you use acrylic on top or gouaches.